Well, an opportunity to win 3 games in a row and get the Darko Rajakovic pizza party goes to waste here. The Raptors mount yet another heroic second half, but they put themselves in too big of a hole to overcome in the end. Let's break it all down in tonight's post-game show. I say tonight's post-game show, but we are in the early hours in the AM in Toronto, 12:30 AM Eastern time recording on this West Coast road trip, and stayed up. Listen, was worried in the first half, was very worried in the third quarter. I'd be depriving myself of some extra sleep for nothing and for a very bad performance. But in the end, the Raptors, not as upset about this one as I have been for other games. You're down big early and you mount a fake comeback. But lot of good stuff to take away, but unfortunately a lot of bad stuff to take away. And some of that bad stuff has to be once again placed on head coach Darko Rajakovic. But reminder to guys, everyone watching, smash that like button if you enjoy what you see from today's content, and subscribe because we do content like this for every Raptors game. Get subscribed, join the Amateur Hour Army today. Never miss out on anything that we drop. But Raptors once again put themselves down by 10 points at one point in the game, one point or another. And it's another game as well where the Raptors go down by 10 plus, and it's in the first half. 25 games this season out of 35 now that the Raptors have been down by 10 plus at one point or another. I believe, top of my head, it's 18 times that 10-point lead has transpired in the first quarter. Not only was it a 10-point deficit for the Raptors to face in the first half, it was a 20-point deficit for the Raptors to face in the first half. They were down 77-57 at the half. And it's not one of those games, like you hear it, 77-57, where the Raptors can't score. They scored. They had a lot of people scoring a lot today. The Raptors have 8 players in double digits on points. All 5 starters had 14 points or more in this one. It was just, they could not get stops. The Sacramento Kings had 14 first half three-pointers. They finished with 21 three-pointers made. So you'll have some people probably checking in on the box score, surfing the box score, saying, Sacramento went nuclear. 55% shooting from 3, 21 of 38. But then you actually see how the game transpires. Wow, how bad did the Raptors look on defense? I understand there's going to be some growing pains, and there's going to be some adjustment having new players involved. Barrett playing 27 minutes, Emmanuel Quickly playing 38 minutes here. There's going to be some growing pains here. But the Raptors had no ability whatsoever to defend the pick and roll. Typically, when teams defend the pick and roll, like they kind of give away one thing. They give away the roller, or they give away the ball handler. Well, the Raptors in the first half did this wacky thing where they did neither. And they left the roller open. They left Fox, let him do whatever he want out of pick and rolls. And a lot of the times, that point of attack defense and that struggling so much for the Raptors just opened up everything for Sacramento's game. Like, we were easily beaten in the point of attack. That brought in help defenders. When that brings in help defenders, guys start to get open for some shots outside. And our rotations were horrible. We were slow. It was reactive instead of proactive. Sometimes 2 guys go to the same player, and then an extra pass makes it another open 3. It was just horrible defense, point of attack. Oftentimes, like the defense on the outside, like we'd be with the player and we just lose him. You lose the guy on the outside for 3. So many open looks for 3s for the Sacramento Kings. And this is a team with a highly potent offense that is going to absolutely take advantage. And you put yourself down 77-57 at half. Now, second half, defense got better. You only give up 58 second half points. But at that point, it's too late. Like, the Raptors offense was mostly fine for this one, but it's too late. Also an issue first half. The offensive rebounding. They had 15 second chance points on 8 offensive rebounds. They only finished the game with 11 offensive rebounds after that onslaught in the first half. Particularly, I think it was like 6 in the first quarter offensive rebounds. And you just put yourself in the hole. Put yourself in a complete hole. So I don't know what, like, pre-game, preparing for this game, Like, did you watch the set? Did you scout this team? Did you watch this team? De'Aaron Fox loves the pick and roll. He loves that play. They're going to go to it a lot. How are you not equipped and prepared to play defense there? How are you not equipped to handle that? And then leaving shooters wide open so consistently. They got a lot of three-point shooters. I get it. It's hard to guard them all. But when there's such consistent amounts of open guys, like, look, you give them a much higher chance of having a big night where they can go shoot like this from three. So that's upsetting. And it's very upsetting that, a failure, not necessarily a failure. Failure is a strong word. But for lack of a better word right now, your failure to prepare for this game led to you going down by 20. It doesn't matter how hard you work second half to try and come back. It's just too big of a gap for you to get back. Now, granted, even after all of the garbage in the first half, the Raptors had a chance to send this game to overtime. They got it close late. They fought back, but it came down to a 3-point game, 9 seconds to go, Raptors timeout. Now, one thing, as with Nick Nurse, there was a lot of good stuff. There was some bad stuff. But one thing I always hated about Nick Nurse was that when it came to a last shot play, he never drew up anything good. Darko, I thought, would be somebody who kind of rectified that, who kind of changed that. And there's been some examples of, like, okay, a good play call, and some examples like tonight of just a horrible play call. Like 9 seconds to generate a look. Go to Emmanuel Quickly. The play call is Dennis Schroeder comes up, and he taps Chris Duarte, the defender, on the hip. Because the Sacramento Kings are switching on everything, so he taps the hip so that Duarte thinks there's a screen coming. So he automatically switches off and goes the other way. But Dennis Schroeder very much failed to sell this. Also, was that really going to work? There's a famous clip of Kyle Lowry doing this, and it works. But, was this really going to work? And then after it literally does nothing. Duarte didn't move a muscle after Schroeder comes up and does that. Quickly kind of panicked and just jacked up the three. It was a mess. It didn't generate a good look. So you got to drop something a little bit better than that for the last play of the game. So Raptors, despite their offensive efforts and the second half fight, end up losing this one. I will say a lot of impressive performances, as I said. 8 guys in double digits. Siakam goes 6 of 11, 18 points. Very efficient 18 points. Siakam's got to get the ball more. Really got to get the ball more. 9 assists, though, is fantastic. 18, 9, and 4. 2 steals and a block. That's a big night from Siakam. Barnes, 8 of 15, 4 of 8, 20 points, 6 assists, 2 blocks. But the minus 23 is a bit upsetting to see. Pirtle was getting roasted by people in the chat, but he had 14 points, 7 of 10, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. He fouled out late in the game, but I thought his defense was fine. I thought his offense, he grew into it offensively. Where he struggled for sure in the first half particularly was boxing out and the rebounding. Only 6 rebounds here. Had a lot more rebounding opportunities. RJ Barrett doesn't close this one. Look, he was okay. He was minus 19. On offense, he was fine. But the defense, he's got to be a bit more, he's engaged, but he's got to do a better job of keeping his check in front of him. He gets beat too easily. We often have to help a lot. We have to help so often off of RJ Barrett's defense. That's something that very much needs to improve for him. Manuel Quickly has an inefficient night. He goes 6 of 17, 4 12 from 3. 20 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds look pretty nice, but just a little let's fine-tune that a little bit here. Emmanuel Quickly shouldn't be taking more shots than Siakam and Barnes. Dennis Schroeder off the bench has another really good performance, 18 points. He goes plus 12, highest of the night, tied with Pirtle. Jonte Porter actually drops in 10 points off the bench. Look, Jonte Porter is fundamentally sound, but yeah, he hit a couple of his open threes. I'm not sure. I think he played well enough that I want to continue to see him play. But I'm not convinced his NBA caliber. But we'll see, especially when we're mitigating injuries, because Gary Trent and Otto Porter were out for this one. Chris Boucher has one of his more impressive nights of the season. 14 points, 9 rebounds, big block near the end of the game. 3 offensive rebounds, a big one near the end of the game. He had a huge game. Very, very impressed there in a game where he needed help off the bench, because when Jalen McDaniels has to get minutes, you know there's a problem. And if it's not Jalen McDaniels, it's Thad Young, Garrett Temple. Also a problem. So the Raptors kind of waste a good offensive night. They go 54% from the field, 35% from 3. They just could not get stops in the first half. They were a mess. They were so disorganized. It didn't look like any process was in place for this team to play defense. So they pay the price. Real start of the West Coast side of the road trip. The Western Conference road trip started with a win over Memphis. This one feels like an opportunity in the end, but the Raptors put themselves in such a hole. Kings should win from that position, of course. So 14-21 in the season. Upcoming stretch of games. Warriors, they've been not great lately. That's winnable. Lakers have been awful since the in-season tournament championship. That's very winnable. Clippers is going to be really tough. Jazz is winnable as well. So we're 1-1. 4 more games to go on the road trip. I said I'd take a split out of these. I still will. I think there's 3 winnable games in this mix here. But really, the Raptors should only be favored in one of the next 4 games. And the problem is, well, yeah, you come home after that, but you got the Celtics and Heat when you do come home. So grab the wins where you can get them. This game kind of feels wasted from that good offensive performance, but look, like this team can't keep putting themselves in a hole and expect to climb out of it. And this is another prime example. So if you enjoyed what you saw from the content today, hit that like button and subscribe, because we do content like this for every Raptors game. Join the Amateur Hour Army today. We'll see you again for the next game Sunday against the Golden State Warriors.